educational institutions get 9 billion Uganda shillings boost. And also today in history, NBC license withdrawn and Putin denied third term.
Well, in the Daily Monitor, the drones are back in the big headline, and we're looking at dreaded vans. National Unity Platform has raised the red flag over alleged disappearance of their supporters who have been taken in Toyota Hiace vans manned by gun-wielding men. Now, of course, they give you photos of some of the people who have fallen victims. That is, one of them is Jakana Naduri, Abbas Semakula, Tracy, Bobby Holly, and Bashir Kasaga, Hussein Katogaza, Farouk Seguja Kagoro. Of course, they give you a photo of probably the anticipated actions here. But of course, still in the headlines in Daily Monitor, Ebola death tolls rise to 23. Government comes out to give report, and NSSF to announce interest today. But still in the Daily Monitor, a couple of tenders for you to look out for. And of course, there's also the Rainbow pullout, and 20 commercial buildings face demolition, and government set to roll out 4 new vaccines. Now, still in the Daily Monitor, what are the new 4 vaccines? They give you the details of the same. But today in history, first Crown Land Ordinance made, that was in 1902, and Axis Powers signed Tripartite Pact in 1940.
New Vision Sports, golfers' day to do battle, and she cranes off to the UK. Also, Tashobia wants more investment, of course, as a chairman of the NCS, trying out woodball. And also, USPS slums brutal Arredo, and glorious weekend for UCU and Sport S. And of course, the picture, glorious picture showing how the She Cranes have traveled to England for a 7-match test series against Northern Ireland, Wales and England.
Now in the Daily Sports, USPA asks media to boycott rugby. Otile leads US best quarters for top golf tournament in Egypt, and boxing faces KO from games. And of course, Portugal to focus on beating Spain, that is Santos, and Watford appoints Balik after Edward sacking. Now KCCA are determined to win back league title, and definitely USA thumbs South Korea 145-69. That is in set basketball World Cup record.
Well, in the traffic updates this morning, looking at several parts in Makindye division, of course, cutting out all the way from Gaba Road to Muyenga, Bukasa, Kansanga, and all the surrounding areas. I must say that there is traffic actually starting to build up on most of these roads, but maybe to take it all the way from Kalungu and looking at Nanjala Road, which is a bit free this morning, connecting you to the main road, which is Gaba Road. There is some traffic over there that is building on Gaba Road. We do see quite some reds and some oranges trying to build up over here, showing you that the traffic is really not about to be any better. Matter of fact, it's starting to build up. Wherever you see the orange stretches, it shows you that that specific part of the road is actually already becoming quite busy. And looking at Lukuli Road is also not any different. We already do have some traffic over here. We do have traffic building up here. We do have some already heavy traffic spots over there. So yes, make sure you make an informed decision about your route this morning. And now looking at the Tank Hill bypass, that is of course in Chiwafu. The traffic is already crazy here as well. We do see the oranges, we see the reds that have taken parts or taken over in those specific parts of the road. Bukasa Road, it's quite a bit free to navigate around this area, but of course as you go around it, there is traffic already in that specific road, and the traffic continues all the way to Kalunji Road, where we have cars coming in because it is a detour and you're joining Bukasa Road. So yes, there is traffic over this specific spot because it is a junction, and again joining a part of this same road as of course you're continuing all the way. Now looking at Chironde Road, which also joins means to Tanki Road. The traffic is already building up here, and for this very part of the road we do have the traffic already crazy. The red part here clearly shows you that this one is quite a dead part of the road, but again you are expected to exercise some bit of patience as you're trying to find your way around it. And joining in all the way coming in here, of course, from Bukasa, trying to get into Namwongo, well, I could say that the road is again having some traffic buildups. We do have some oranges over here, so yes, I could say that any minute now the traffic could actually become heavier, or it could be able to dissipate. And Chisugu, moving in all the way, the traffic is also building up over there. So if you are a resident of Chisugu, or if this is part of your daily route, well, do plan accordingly to make sure that you are not inconvenienced in any way. And getting onto Barnabas Road, Barnabas Road is actually quite a free road this morning. We're seeing the grain being dominant, at least for the biggest part of this road. Yes, so it should be easy for you to navigate to wherever you are. Now, continuing on Namwongo Road, I must say that parts of it are already quite heavy with the traffic. This very spot here, which has already progressed to maroon from red, it shows that it's quite chaotic around here. So if you're already caught up there, you must be witnessing what I'm talking about, but it shouldn't stop you from being quite a disciplined road user, much as you would really appreciate getting to your final destination. Now, heading into the industrial area, we do have the 7th Street, 6th Street, and all these streets are quite very busy this morning. We do have traffic buildups over here, over the 7th Street, and the 6th Street is not also any different from the rest. And crossing over to the other part of the road as you're coming in from Zambia, rather from Gaba Road, joining in on Zambia, I must say that this is not any different. It is already heavy with the traffic. There are quite a number of motorists here. We do have a number of pedestrians. We also do have a number of cyclists, so this explains quite the traffic over there. Now, joining in, of course, on Mukwano Road as you're trying to get to Access Road, there is quite some bit of traffic over here, and it's quite heavy. And also the Press House Road as you're trying to join in here, do expect some traffic at that very specific point. Getting into the roundabout that will help you get into Access Road, of course, it's a bit chaotic because we have cars trying to access the main road, of course, from different directions. Access Road, on the other hand, is quite heavy with the traffic. If you want to join the main road, which is the Jinja Kampala Road, you could use Adito, the Station Road, and finally access the Kampala Road at a further stage. However, if you're joining in from this point, do expect again some traffic buildups. Now, for the main part of the road, which is Kampala Road, especially for the cars coming into town and leaving town, I must say it's not yet congested as we speak, but it is 7:49, so anything can happen from now on. And I'm assuming that maybe it's because cars are still leaving, the outskirts, where we are witnessing actually quite some heavy traffic. Any minute now, when they get into the city center, we could be telling a different story. Now, of course, as you go on to Kampala Road, you will be experiencing some traffic buildups. We do have here via Speak Road, cars coming in from Speak Road try to join this main road. We have cars coming in from Entebbe Road, still try to join this main road, the Kampala Road. So yes, the traffic should also be expected at those very spots. Well, if you're coming in from those parts of Kampala, well, especially Makinde Division, I could say that most of the roads are quite heavy with the traffic. And as you go further on Kampala Road, you do see that there is quite some heavy traffic ahead and also building up, especially for the cars coming in, and for the cars leaving, you may not be experiencing that much of the traffic that we have witnessed. So please make an informed decision. And again, just to remind you, again, be a very careful road user, and also the border cyclists. It's quite it has come to notice to very many people that some border cyclists they ride around quite unprofessionally. So if you can talk to them, please do that. That video that was released by the Uganda Traffic Police, it was quite very traumatizing, not for only me, but for very many other Ugandans. I did see the way quite a number of you were interacting with that video on Twitter. It was quite very intense and disturbing. So we have to do what we have to do to make sure we are all safe on the road. Well, that's it from the traffic updates. We'll be having the GMU agenda coming in right after that. And of course, as you go on, you will be getting sports updates much later on. Not forgetting GMU Extra for that extra information that you could have missed out here on Good Morning Uganda. I want to wish you a wonderful Tuesday. Good morning. I am Philomena Masco.
Live from UBC studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN cupboard. That's super easy.
I remember the lockdown, when the streets were empty and our lives disrupted, when businesses closed and our livelihoods hung in the balance. Hospitals were full. We lost loved ones, jobs, and hope. Our children couldn't study anymore. We cannot let this happen again. We should not go back. Get fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and join the millions of Ugandans who are already vaccinated.
Airtel is giving you bigger data bundles for the same price. Dial *175# to choose from our range of bigger Chillax bundles that don't expire and stay connected longer to loved ones. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome to English in a Minute. Dust is made up of very small particles of dirt, and it collects everywhere.
So, my friend Bernard really wants to go out with your friend Bridget. Is she seeing anyone?
No, but now is not the best time. She is still getting over a really messy breakup.
Ooh, right. I'll tell him to let the dust settle before calling her.
Good idea. And warn him that there's a lot of dust.
Dust in this expression represents confusion, trouble, or just a lot of activity. So, if you let the dust settle, you wait until things have calmed down or returned to normal. And that's English in a Minute.
Forget last season. Forget the oohs and the ahs. Forget every moment that stole the show, because the real show is here on GoTV. It's the new season. It's action-packed and it's going to be non-stop football. With over 1,000 games from more than 7 leagues and cup competitions plus a World Cup. Make sure you get the best seat in the house this new football season. Get a GoCoder with 1 month of GoTV value for only 25,000 Uganda shillings and enjoy non-stop football. GoTV Uganda. Love it.
Stay connected on the largest 4G network in Uganda using the Airtel 4G Pocket MiFi at only 75,000 Uganda shillings. It comes with 15 GBs free, valid for a month. You can connect up to 10 of your friends and family at a go. Visit the nearest Airtel shop to get one today or call 800 333 330 for free delivery within Kampala. Dial *175 *9# to activate free 15 GBs. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome to English in a Minute. Children are sometimes afraid of the dark. But what do you think this expression might mean?
What was all that shouting about earlier?
Kim and Craig broke up, but they still have to work together. Problems.
Wait, Kim and Craig were dating?
How can you be so in the dark with this one? They were always holding hands and making kissy faces.
Forget I asked. Ugh.
When you are in the dark, you are not informed about a situation. You don't have all the facts. Or maybe you don't want all the facts, like Jonathan in
Forget
our
I asked.
example.
Ugh.
But you can also be kept in the dark on purpose by a friend, company, or government. And that's English in a Minute.
A logical, deeper conversation.
How many teachers in Uganda did you consult? But there's a mistake we are making. Which is good?
Which is good?
Which is good?
Which is good?
We went to this school, we ran to Western, we ran to Northern, we ran, then you come. Isn't that an achievement?
Objective and non-partisan.
Honorable Minister, there were a number of points. I want to start with you.
Straight from the hearts of open-minded men and women.
Money tends to move faster at night. So when people are not counting,
don't take it for granted.
Candid and authentic.
Because Uganda is not Thailand.
That's not correct, and we should stop that kind of mentality.
So what I'm saying
that's
is
a trick question. Don't answer.
I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into that.
Tell him you speak Luo.
I think that's where we are beginning to have a problem.
I think what is going to kill the parish model are all the misconceptions on how it's supposed to run.
I know that the Prime Minister is listening.
Behind the headlines.
Charles, let us agree. We liberalized the economy. We are several nations put it together. Why don't you appreciate that? What if it fails? I'm happy and he's a good lawyer because Amin is not in power.
The parish development committee is functional. It is there. That there is a parish chief, that the beneficiaries do exist.
So we look at expenditure. We don't look at revenue. And that is the challenge we are giving them from Minister of Finance.
Your fountain of new knowledge, flowing into the mass body of knowledge.
First get the knowledge of Bukedia, how they want to be modernized.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
you return money to the treasury, which is meant for the people.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
The quest, giver of life, Alpha without Omega. I am Africa.
Hail to Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, a land with the world's most beautiful, captivating features. Hills, mountains and valleys, the enigmatic animal species in the wild. A land where Africa is condensed into one small country with authentic endowments of nature and perfect safari. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, is without the crowds with abundant primates, wildlife and stunning scenery. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, takes you beyond the guidebooks, the known features and gives you the insights unmatched. Keep it UBC TV, where we inspire Uganda with authentic beauty and nature of our motherland. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. Discover the fountain.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning and many thanks for keeping with us here on UBC TV. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. It is a fairly cool morning, but also when I look outside my studios, I see at least a bit of sunshine. So I would call it a fairly bright morning away from the many where we've been waking up to sunshine. That is the weather here in Kampala. But remember, it can change anytime because we're in our final season of the year. We have 2 rainy seasons, the March to May, then the August to December. So we're in that period of rainfall. In case anything happens, please so plan your journeys very well. And this is Good Morning Uganda agenda. Now, what we do in this segment, we have a guest in studios and we discuss issues of national concern. This morning, we are going to be discussing or talking about rabies. And tomorrow is World Rabies Day. Now, I know many of you would ask yourselves, what is rabies? Many of us know when a cat, a dog bites you, that is when we talk about rabies. They'll tell you, go to this particular hospital, get an injection. Also, many know rabies is something very dangerous but transmitted by a rabid dog or a cat in that way. And also for us who are so much into dog breeding, we know that one of the recommendations is actually to vaccinate your dog. I do that for my dogs every year against rabies. So joining me on set this morning to discuss this is a veterinary officer, Dr. Katumba Hannington, working with KCCA. And remember, the function of the international or global celebrations are tomorrow. However, district can organize theirs accordingly, but we are looking at the theme this time is health and zero death. Zero death now here stands for both humans and animals. And there's a big relationship between humans and animals when you talk about rabies. Let me welcome the expert in that field. That is Dr. Katumba. You're most welcome to our studios.
Thank you, sir.
Now, just to get it from you, to paint a picture, I know you can even use some of the terms that you were. How best can we describe rabies? One would call it a disease, others will say, but diseases don't come after you've been bitten. Some will say, but even for malaria, it's a mosquito. So briefly, in a layman's language, easy to understand. Don't go technical and all that. No, when we talk about rabies, what are we referring to?
Rabies. Good morning, viewers. I'm Dr. Katumba Hannington. I'm a veterinary doctor. I work with KCCA, Kampala Capital City Authority. I'm a member of the Uganda Veterinary Association. That's an umbrella body that brings together all veterinarians in Uganda. I fall under the Ministry of Agriculture because that is where mainstream veterinary services are located. But in KCCA, it is under public health. That brings in, like someone was asking, I thought vets are under this one. But the main thing that health is health.
Yes.
Health is health. That's why our theme says one health and zero death by 2030. There's a global target to have zero death from rabies by 2030. Rabies is very easy to describe. It's one of the world's deadliest diseases. The reason is that once you get rabies and you show signs of rabies, your chances of living on are actually very slim. Up to now, we have, I think, just one person in the entire history of humanity who has shown signs and gone on to survive. Other people, once you show signs, it is almost, you can be sure it's a gone case. Rabies, like you said, it's a deadly disease. We get it most of the time, 90%, from animal bites, and especially dogs. It is a disease that is normally, but the virus that causes the disease is normally kept in the wild animals. So when these domestic animals of ours move around in place of breeding or mating or looking for food or whatever sort it is, if they get in touch with the wild animals, then a bite is likely to happen. A wild animal, for example, foxes or jackals or bats, these things which bring Marburg and Ebola. If they bite your domestic animal, then that is a point of contact. Then domestic animal comes now into, because domestic animals, dogs, they are our friends, they are our companions, everything. So they go into the wild and then bring the virus into the human population or the domestic animal population. So in the process, now it means it has come closer to us. Okay, so from there, from the dog or a cat which has been bitten by another one in the wild, there's a chance that now it can bite another one.
That is domesticated.
Domesticated. Any other animal, actually the disease affects almost all mammals. Mammals are those ones which produce young ones alive. Dogs, cats, rabbits, cows, sheep, goat, almost anything. Humans inclusive, we are mammals. So when a bite happens now from the dog which has been infected and it bites you, then that is how it gets into us. When it gets into the body of the animal or the person, it starts from the animal, the dog specifically. It's where the biggest problem is. It has a tendency, the virus, the germ, for layman's understanding, the germ that causes the rabies, it has a tendency to like the nervous system or the brain and the nerves. That is the way describe it.
That's why you're saying, boy, good at the rabies.
Exactly. That's the description. Because when it bites, for example, here on the dog's arm, the virus finds its way to the nerve endings and then to the spinal cord and then to the brain. And when it reaches there, definitely disorganizes the brain. And the brain is the computer of the body. It's the one which makes the body function normally. So once it is affected, then the dog behaves abnormally.
Begins standing against the owner.
Yes, exactly. Anyone familiar becomes unfamiliar. Anything moving around wants to bite it. So the behavior totally changes. It fears things normally never used to fear. To see running here, it bites everything, bites everyone. So that is, that's why the term in the Uganda they call it mbwe gudde eddalu. Many other languages have something to refer to that. A mad dog.
Now, this brings me also to ask, now that we know what causes rabies, how rabies is transmitted, one of the things that we also need to know, doctor, is how best, in case of this uncertainty happens, what do I have to do?
In case you're bitten by a dog? Oh, great. One of the best things to do in case you're bitten, let's start before you're bitten. The best thing to avoid rabies is to avoid even being bitten by a dog, because like we said, the chances of you progressing to have signs when the dog that bit you has rabies, there are chances that you might actually get signs and therefore develop rabies and die. So it's actually best that we avoid getting bitten by dogs at all. Because there are some dogs which might actually have rabies and not show serious signs. That's a smaller percentage though. The issue that it changes, if it has been so active, it might become very docile. Because like say the brain is affected, so it's no longer functioning normally. If it has been docile, it becomes very active. So the best way would be to avoid any dog bites. With the statistics we have is that actually most of the people who get bitten, close to half of them are children who are below the age of 15 globally. And those who go on to get rabies and die, still around half of them are actually children. And when you understand children, their behavior, they love their innocence, they love petting dogs and cats, they love playing. And incidentally, even when I was a child, every time we'd see a dog, the immediate thing that would come to my mind was to get a stone, throw at it. Up to now, the tendency sometimes coming, but now I'm professional, I know how to deal with them.
Well, for me, when I was a kid, every time I would see a dog, I would want to bring it closer and pat it.
There are some good, really, many good animal life, but generally, most people is to get a stone, hit it.
Now you've brought a very tricky situation. When you tell us avoid being bitten by a dog. We know in Uganda we have a number of stray dogs. In every city, in every area, there's a stray dog.
I'll come to that.
So the high chances people don't look after their dogs very well.
Good. That's a good point.
Even if we moved on the streets of Kampala right now, move around CPS police stations, I don't know. I think either they breed these on purpose or they just come there, move along, and it's common to see a dog moving freely, even in Kampala.
Yes.
Now, when you go to these other 5 divisions that make up Kampala, stray dogs are everywhere. You're from parking your car, maybe in a parking yard, you're going home, you pass across dogs. Early morning, maybe you're going to the shop, you pass her. So there are so many. Dogs are so common. In the villages, oh my God. Dogs move freely, hunters have their dogs, they don't chain them. So when we tell people to avoid being bitten by a rabid dog, I find that a bit...
Okay, let me break it down.
One time I was even coming around in Zambia, you're driving and these dogs out of the blood, chasing the car. So it seems you're in a country that has a high population of dogs, man.
Yeah, actually, we have a high population. So what I meant is, first of all, I was driving the point of not provoking dogs at all. If as much as possible, any dog that you don't know or you don't know its behavior, just don't provoke it. If possible, if by any chance, any time you meet dogs, keep out of their way, try to move in a safe area, try to avoid confronting them, or like I was saying, children like that. Most people like that. Every time they see a dog, they want to provoke it, and that usually has been one of the major causes of actually them biting. If it had rabies, maybe it is going a different direction, it is now forced to turn towards you. Dogs which move in packs in their breeding season, just don't do that. Like you said, we definitely have many dogs, and you may never know which one has rabies or not. And we brought the issue of roaming dogs or stray dogs. Yeah, we have issues about that classification. What we call actually roaming dogs or stray dogs, these are dogs which at one time they were puppies. Not long ago, because the lifespan of a dog is not that long, maybe 15 years. So in a short while ago, all of them were actually puppies. They were bred by mother. And incidentally, the owners, because these are in Kampala, I'm expecting that the majority are supposed to be actually domesticated dogs. These were puppies whom the owners actually could not handle, could not take care of. Because if a dog pups around 10 puppies in one go, that's 10 dogs plus the mother and the father. That's 12. Now the cost of maintaining that dog sometimes is quite unaffordable by the average person. So what most people do, that they just leave the dog to fend for itself. So it goes around looking for food, and these puppies grow and they become actually big dogs on the streets. So one way is to avoid that, first of all, is to avoid unresponsible ownership of dogs. We're encouraging people to make sure that have dogs that you can only manage.
Yes.
And avoid, because dogs are our companions. We are, from time immemorial, we treated dogs
Man's
one of the
best friend.
Exactly. So if it's your best friend, then it should be in your best interest actually that you should take good care of it. A dog will not go on the street to loiter or to roam when you're giving it food. One of the best things looking for on the street is actually food. So when you're giving it food, when you're caring for it, when you're giving it medical attention, call it veterinary attention, it will rarely go out to look for anything. Rarely, because they go out to hunt. So that's one of the reasons we have a high population of dogs in Kampala. Number two is it brings out the environment aspect. They go to look out for food because there is food outside. There's a lot of garbage. We have a lot of garbage that we are still struggling to manage. In fact, when you go to some of those, the dirtiest places where there's garbage, where there's unsanitary things, maybe where they dispose all sorts of things, you find them there. And that's actually, we have had many cases where people report that when I was passing by that corner and realized there's a garbage heap. In their corner, in the garage, wherever, that's where they usually get attacked by those, what we call the stray dogs. But these are initially dogs which were in a home somewhere, but they couldn't be managed by us, the people. Now I'm sure you're seeing how the human, animal, and environment aspect is coming in. So it is important that we still treat them as our best friends and do as much as we can to give them the attention they need. Freedom from pain, from they should have, the dogs also, not just dogs, but animals have their own rights. Okay? True. They should be freedom. You should be free from pain, from they should have access to food and medical care for them to live, for us to coexist properly with them.
Okay.
Because we benefit from them and they benefit from, they actually depend on us. Yes.
And they really do a very good job in terms of protection. I want to tell you, if you're looking for security that is unbribable,
yes,
is a dog. You can trust it.
Yes.
Also, if it's trained, then again, it's anti-poison, eating in-house, then you're good. So what happens, because I know, what happens when a dog bites me and maybe we suspect it's rabies or any dog, because I'm a dog breeder.
Yes.
I have a number of dogs for commercial purposes.
Wow.
But I've had incidents, uncertainties, where one time my young boy wanted to show off that we have a dog. They were playing, he made a mistake, and of course they were barking for strangers, but I think just then he unfortunately opened. I was in the house, and by the time I came, a number of that got scratches, that got beaten, but I know what to do, and I did what was right. But just for our viewers, what happens in case there is a bite?
Yeah, in case there is a bite, the first thing to do is to get first aid, because at that point your survival is first and most priority at that point. So we do first aid. You're advised to do first aid. Preferably look for water, a lot of water, a lot of it, and soap, and wash the bite wound or the bite place. Mash it as much as possible. We tell people to wash it for as long as 15 minutes in flowing water. If possible, a tap or a jerry can, but for a lot, plenty of soap and water. The reason is because the virus, when the dog actually has rabies, if it has it has bitten you because of rabies, usually the virus is discharged through the saliva, from the brain and to the salivary glands and then saliva. So the bite of an infected dog, the saliva is the one actually that gets into your body, your blood, and then your nerves, that's like that. So washing with plenty of water and soap actually helps to wash off a lot of virus load on the infected wound. Okay, and that minimizes the chances or the amount that is going to go inside and go into your nervous system. And once you do that, then your next thing to do is to, after those 15 minutes of thorough washing, is to go to a medical center for, first of all, first aid and cleaning, further cleaning of the wound. And at the same time, when you go to a health center, they are going to give you post-exposure prophylaxis, what we call PEP in short. That's a treatment that is given to you. It's an anti-rabies injection that prevents further or quicker multiplication of the virus that you have got from going into the nervous system.
How available is that? Because I remember these boys, I had to rush them to Entebbe. Then also they told me if I wasn't going to Entebbe, I think around this road, is it Bombo Road, somewhere there? That's why they told me there's a hospital that can do that. So how available is that? That when you get these dog bites, because sometimes it's hard to convince people that my dog is not rabid. I vaccinated it immediately. Yes. My child, you know that panic that happens. So take them to get this injection.
Yeah. First of all, let me first clarify this. Not every dog is rabid, by the way. And that should be made clear. Yes, not every dog is rabid.
When your dog bites a person, I think it's in the mind of many Ugandans. It is between your word and them.
Yes, exactly.
Let them go get that rabid.
Okay, great. That is like the safest way, whether rabid or not. If you got it, then yourself, you have ruled out uncertainty. However, it's not necessary to always, because we are encouraging now. That's why there is actually this World Rabies Day, to make sure people vaccinate as many of their animals as possible. Because when it is vaccinated, even if it bites you and tears off your arm, God forbid that it does that, you will not get rabies because it has no rabies. It's protected already. It is probably biting you for other reasons, because dogs can bite for even you, the owner. You can accidentally step on it and it will give you a thorough bite, not because it has rabies. Like you said, you're into dog breeding. You mostly have seen dogs which are trained. Trained, there are some cases where a dog is trained to recognize one person in the family. Only its caretaker.
Crowd control.
Exactly. Any other person is going to bite you. Yes. Not because it has rabies. You've seen the police dogs. They are trained. Any stranger across the gate, they will get you. Not because they have rabies. So we encourage people to vaccinate their dogs as much as possible. When the vaccination happens, we are targeting to have around 70 to 80%. If you have a population of 80 dogs in a community vaccinated, let's say in Uganda, 80% of the dogs vaccinated, let's say we had 1 million dogs, for example, and 800,000 are vaccinated against rabies. The chances of a domesticated dog getting out, getting beaten, and bringing back rabies in the community are totally minimized.
Yes.
Because like the 20% which is left can somehow survive. Of course, we wish that every dog could be vaccinated. Okay? So vaccination is one way of preventing. That's the best way. Your question was, how do we know? How do we know that a dog has rabies?
No, immediately after.
After. Where do we get the positive? So when
it seems scarce.
It seems scarce. I'll talk on behalf of the government. For example, in Mulago, at the Accident and Emergency Center, it is like the one-stop center where you should expect to find rabies. And in most government facilities, especially the referral hospitals, there should be anti-rabies. But also private facilities, of course, there if you go there, you'll go there at a fee. You must pay a fee to access it. But for the government facilities, it is a free service. You go there and get it.
Now, Dr. Katumba,
yes,
our viewers, you can be part of the topic of discussion this morning by simply going to our WhatsApp number. It's coming up on the screen, and send us your message. We are discussing rabies, and tomorrow is World Rabies Day. The number is coming up on your screen, and please send us a text message or a WhatsApp message on that very number. Send us a text or WhatsApp message on that number, and I guarantee you we'll be able to respond to all your questions with the vet I have in studios here. Now, this takes me to the issue of vaccination. We have so many stray dogs, like you said. But now let's begin with those dogs in people's homes. I vaccinate my own dogs, and I buy rabies between 8,000 to 10,000. But if you call a veterinary doctor, I don't know your bills. Veterinary doctors, when it comes to dogs, I think because they think we have them for leisure, vaccination becomes expensive. And also one thing I've learned with handling a vaccine is a complicated thing. Because when you buy that rabies vaccine, if at all someone handles it within their palms, it's already contaminated. So people may assume that they are vaccinated, yet already the vaccine has been contaminated. Second, even handling of the vaccine. Someone buy a vaccine at Container Village or at whatever, I don't want to advertise them, Global Vet, Sajawaza, whatever, then they are moving to Mbali. For them, they are taking their rabies vaccine.
By the time you reach there, you have
it is complicated. So how available is this vaccination and how affordable? Yes.
Okay. There are two types you're talking about. There's what we were talking about that humans get after getting bitten is what we call the post-exposure prophylaxis.
Now I'm on what dogs. Yes,
what dogs get is the rabies vaccine that prevents now the dog from getting rabies, okay? And like you said, those are the reasons why actually we should be vaccinating our dogs, because the cost of vaccinating the dog is actually cheap. You mentioned it is high, but it's actually cheap compared to, I don't know if you had people who have been bitten by rabid dogs and they actually get rabies, or even they didn't have, but that scare alone, what you go through and the amount you spend is 10-20 times more than actually vaccinating a dog. You said you buy it at 10,000. I will not talk about the amount because there's no harmonized price on that since it's on the private market as well. But the cost of me as a vet getting that vaccine, keeping it in my clinic, and then coming into your home to vaccinate your dogs definitely cannot be 10,000. And like we said, this is not. We are not, a private vet is not getting a government subsidy and getting government facilities to keep in the rabies vaccine and keep it safe, because you said it must be kept under strict condition for it to work. Otherwise, you'll just inject nothing and then you think you're vaccinated. And that drives the cost high. Okay. However, like I said, it is nothing compared to the cost of actually getting a post-exposure treatment, because most times they will get around 3 or 4 injections And in some health facilities I've seen one injection might go up for around 50,000 post-exposure for a person. Around 50,000. You get for that 200,000.
I had 3 boys, each took 70,000.
For one shot.
For one shot.
For one shot, exactly. But now the cost of injecting your dog is around.
That's an inconvenience. Parents were like,
yep.
Then transporting them, then the panic.
Yeah, it is costly to manage rabies in humans than to keep it in the animal population. And that's why that's what we are all about.
Well, our viewers, just remind you that you can be part of the topic of discussion this morning by simply going on your phone and use the number on your screen to send us a WhatsApp message or a text message, and I'll be reading them out regarding rabies. Tomorrow is World Rabies Day, and I have a veterinary doctor working with KCCA with whom we are discussing issues to do with rabies. How much do you know about rabies? How best can we together fight rabies? Well, they tell you that chances of survival once one has shown signs are very minimal, very minimal. I must be honest. And of course, the signs are very scary. I saw one barking like a dog.
Yeah.
So, doctor, let's take a look at also these signs.
Yeah. Yeah, the signs, like you said, it affects the brain, the nervous system, and that's what explains the abnormal behavior. Because the nervous system is also what controls the voice, the vocal cords. So what is usually confused or made to mean that someone is barking like a dog is because actually they're in pain, but when they're trying to cry, the voice comes out totally distorted, incidentally almost similar to a barking dog. That's what actually explains that similarity. It's not that someone has turned into a dog or no, nothing. It's just that the vocal cords have been deranged, the nervous system is totally affected. So the signs in humans, yeah, that kind of distorted vocalization, fear, tremors, fear of light, because light is also the nervous system, also the eyes is part of the nervous system actually. Fear of light, fear of water, all that, high temperatures, of course, shaking, sometimes rigidity because of the nervous system still being affected. Yeah, but before you reach there, like we said, let's focus more on actually the prevention, because once you reach that stage, when someone is showing signs, there's nothing really to learn from there.
Unfortunately, passed on, but he had also developed saliva.
Yeah, that frothing and everything. Yeah,
and it was very scary.
Yeah,
now let's take a look at some of the questions that are coming in. A quick one, then we'll go back. That is, presenter, how often should dogs be vaccinated in their lifespan? I am Godric here in Kole District, Northern Uganda.
Thank you. Dogs after 4 months, the first rabies injection should be around 4 months. Then afterwards, you should do it annually. Annually, every year, a dog has a lifespan around 15 years. So those are just 15 injections
that gets in its lifetime.
Yes.
Then also, doctor.
The same with cats, actually.
Yeah. Cats again. Now, doctor, let's also look at one of the things. As we gear up to this day tomorrow,
yes,
KCCA and government usually has these. Remember, when I was growing up, they had where they would come at the district or position themselves somewhere, and everyone with a dog would take it there. I don't know if they still exist.
Yeah, they do. They do. Incidentally, my personally appearing here is we've been having actually these camps.
Okay.
We've been having these camps. But for one reason or the other, maybe they're not as common as they should be having, but we are working so hard to make them very common. This year, we've had, this should be around like the 8th or 10th camp in Kampala. We had one at World Veterinary Day in April and several others around Makerere, around the Entebbe Road, so many of them. This particular week, we've had 3. We had one on Saturday at Mawanda Road. At the camp there.
Vetpol?
Yeah, Vetpal. Yeah, you must have seen tweets or whatever. Yes.
It's in Uganda Professional Dog Handlers, where I'm a group member, and we were telling us to bring our dogs.
Dr. Alkwaku, yes. We had a huge camp, a huge turn up there on Mawanda Road. On Sunday, we had St. Stephen's Church, Chisugu. Okay. Incidentally, we have come here when we have already finished, but we have been publicizing on radio, went on NBS, went on all that information has been saturating. Yesterday we are in Makerere University and the surrounding areas, Mulango, Katanga, Chikoni, Chikumi, people brought their dogs and actually vaccinated. We are hoping that even after here we can continue these drives. But also, like I said, every district, for example, this particular week, I think almost every district has organized some rabies vaccination camps. But the national celebration is in Tororo. That's where actually all our attention is right now. The Ministry of Agriculture, officials from the Ministry of Health, Environment, most of the districts actually sending their troops to celebrate the day, but also to do massive vaccination. It has been going on actually in Tororo from Monday, today, and then tomorrow. I don't know, the DVO there knows whether they are going to continue even for an entire week, but it's a massive drive and many people are turning up to vaccinate their dogs and cats against rabies.
Okay.
Yeah, so
now,
they are here in Kampala, we are doing them.
Now there is a message here.
Yes.
Listen to it very well. Good morning, Mr. Chirabo. Thank you for the show. My friend was bitten by a dog in Chiriandongo and was referred to Lakio Hospital in Gulu or Entebbe, which contradicts what Dr. Katumba is telling us. Is it true that the vaccine for rabies is readily available in all government hospitals over or in particular hospitals in our country? The same incident happened in Soroti, and still Entebbe is what the doctors were talking about. Thank you, Pastor Fred from Soroti. I told you. Also, I was told, run them to Entebbe.
Exactly.
I was like, why Entebbe?
I said, I was very careful. I said, should be.
Should be, yes.
That is maybe where we are supposed to lobby government to make sure that what is supposed to be is actually done. We should be supposed to have all these vaccines in every referral hospital. Like I said, for Kampala particulates, Mulago National Referral at the Accident and Emergency Center. It's what it should be, but there might be that unfortunate chance where you go and actually it's out of stock. You get it? But that is what it should be.
Maybe that also brings me to ask you very fast. How deep is the rabies problem in our country? How often do we get these cases? Maybe that will also explain why maybe we don't have these stocks as much as that.
One of the problems we have with rabies actually is underreporting. Underreporting both of the bites, both of the very clear statistics about even the populations. And also we had many cases, actually we have many cases where actually people still believe that when you get bitten by a dog, there's some herbal things you can do, some stone you can put, and then somehow you survive. And some of those cases actually don't even go to a health center for any attention, even if it was even no rabies at all, because the bite itself, there's soil, there's dirt, there's what, it's supposed to be washed, not given more herbs and leaves put there. They actually contaminate the wound and they might even make you worse when you shouldn't have been.
But you've mentioned something that I also applied.
Now, let me first finish before I get diverted from the report of statistics. So underreporting is a big issue that all we know that the extent is so large. Now, what we have is a rough estimate of a global statistics. Like, rabies is almost on every continent. However, most of the bites and death happen in the Africa, Asia, this lower part. That's where most of the death happen, 90% of them. But the estimates, the World Health Organization and the World Organization for Animal Health have estimates that actually every 9 minutes, how many minutes have we spent here? Around 30 minutes. That's that's around 4 times. 4 people have died of rabies since we sat here. Every 9 minutes, someone is dying of rabies.
Very unfortunate.
Globally.
Now, doctor, there's this issue of that thing called black stone.
The black stone.
I know you've heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I've not interacted with it.
Many breeders, we keep ourselves with them. In case a dog bites someone, after washing, like you said, with running water, wash thoroughly with soap.
Yes.
Then you put that black stone. And if it sticks, it's at least getting out of that. I know my head's also applied on snakes, but even dog breeders. What is your take on that?
My take that I do not know have any scientific proof for that. If the virus has already reached, for example, it will not really suck the virus because it's a live virus that goes on multiplying and increasing. So if you put your stone here or wherever it is and the virus is in the brain, the chances of it so it's not like a vacuum pump that pulls out like this. No. This is a live virus.
Thank you.
So maybe it could be, I have no really proof on that. It could be that it might work when there, but scientific proof on that, I would advise you to, in addition to your black stone, if now especially that you're a dog handler and your colleagues, get vaccinated.
Well, that brings me to another question. I am Sarah Chayaki from Bale. There are very many stray dogs on streets. Is there anything that can be done to immunize them since they are a threat? Handling a stray dog, my dear.
Yeah, with variety of resources available, if it would be the best when we don't have, we have in Uganda, in Kampala here particularly, we have a charity organization called USPCA. They actually go on getting some of the heavily abandoned and looking miserable dogs. But sometimes you find people, they bring puppies.
Those are also becoming a problem, sorry to say. They leave there so many stray dogs, then they come to people's homes.
Let me explain that.
Disturb them, you look after your dogs very well, threaten, sometimes take them, yet there are thousands out there suffering.
Okay, so let me first finish. They get home, they get calls. Some have a dog abandoned here, I don't know what to do with it. They take it up, home it, and then if possible find a suitable owner, dish it out again for someone to take care of it. Right now I think they have in their home around maybe 300 to 500 dogs that they have in custody. There are chances or resources for actually taking up more than that would require substantial investment of money. If you were to round up all the loitering dogs in Kampala, you would need a whole maybe 50 acres or something to make a suitable home for them, feed them, take care of them medically, all that. That's a lot of investment. And we have, this is just one charity doing that. Okay? So it's what we are doing currently with them is that we actually, when we do these camps, if we manage, we used to work, we still work actually with the veterinary students at Makere, and they have a student association. Within the neighborhood, we just go capture those loitering dogs, vaccinate them, and spay and neuter them. Spay is, in a layman's language, that is like family planning. You put them in family planning.
So
the females remove the uterus surgically.
Then the males we castrate.
Yeah, we castrate and then release them again because we don't have where to keep them. And we still don't want them to get infected with rabies or infect others. So we vaccinate them, spay and neuter them, that we show that in the next, until it dies somewhere, it will not have more puppies to contribute to the population.
Okay, let's just look more at the question. As, my boy was bitten by a stray dog in Gaba, taken to Windsor Medical Center, and to our surprise, they had a rabies jab. He ended up getting 3 jabs. That was in last year. We have a lot of stray dogs in Gaba. Still the issue of stray dogs comes up. I'm Nicholas from Gulu. I was bitten by a dog, but the owner told me it was vaccinated without giving me a vaccination card. Do you think I am safe?
Yeah, for the last question, I don't know how long that would be. There's a time when beyond which we don't think you actually have rabies, because when a dog that has rabies bites you, then we expect that within 2 weeks, if you got the virus, you should be able to show signs. So if it's a year since then I doubt that actually the dog had rabies at all. And secondly, how to know that if it had rabies, also within the 10 days after biting you, if we had a way to, normally actually in our routine investigations as vets, when such a case happens, when someone gets bitten by a dog, like I advised you, go to the medical facility, but also report the matter to the veterinary officer to investigate whether the dog had rabies, whether the dog had been vaccinated, because your nearest vet is the one who should be helping in all these services to vaccinate your dog or to investigate whether the dog actually has being vaccinated. Where there's no proof of vaccination of the dog, then it is safe actually that you should get an post-exposure prophylaxis, because we don't know. Even me, I can't look at a dog like this and I know that it was actually vaccinated. No, it has to be a medical record provided by the owner kept. Most people don't, they usually tell you it was vaccinated just to get away with it, because they know it can proceed into some time.
Proof of vaccination.
Yeah, it's
but
an
also
important
these
thing.
days, those cards, you know what happens? Someone can buy a card as well.
The card you can buy the card, but you cannot buy the proof of the vaccination, because the card, even you can print a card. However, in the card we require that the one who vaccinates signs there. We know him. He must be a well-trained, qualified, licensed veterinarian.
Oh.
Okay.
Not this issue. I did the vaccination. There's a sticker.
Yeah, we have a lot of quacks around, moving around, and we don't, like you said, some people move the vaccine from here to Mbale or wherever with no cold chain, with no facilities, and they are jabbing and making money. That's why I'm saying we have a system of knowing who vaccinated your dog, who is he, what does he know, what did he study, who licensed him, and second, of course, we have one licensing, but that's Uganda Veterinary Board. So if you're not licensed by the Uganda Vet Board, most likely you need to do it, especially if you're trained and qualified. Then after that, we also follow up on which vaccine did they use, what batch number, where did it come from, and which chance, that we can verify all that. You get it? Yeah, so it's not a random matter of just having. You can buy a card when it has nothing.
Well, Doctor, time is not so much on my side, but I'm going to hurriedly move through these messages at once, because a number of them are similar. UBC GMU, Davis from Rupunjiri. How do you deal with quacks in the vet profession? I think that you've mentioned.
Yeah.
For example, we have advertisers on TV, radio that help on snake venom. Can we guarantee that those people are professionals? Still, we have one, Hassan Wamboya. But me, I think that I thank the doctor so much, because people waste a lot of time wanting to report to the chairperson, putting local medicine when yet it worsens the wound. He says he's from Mbale. Then we also have we have our friend here from Iganga. That is David from Iganga. Is it true that when a dog is bit sick, it's not advisable to be taken for when a dog is a bit sick, not advisable to take it for vaccination?
Okay, it depends on what. That's why we are saying we need the veterinary services. Don't take, like we say, you don't take your health in your own hands when they are medical doctors. So equally here, don't. We need to know what kind of sickness it is. Let the veterinary doctor who is nearest you, whether private or government, but licensed and qualified, do the evaluation for you and advise you know what to do.
Then finally, nice show. What is the theory of observing a dog for 10 days after it has bitten someone? Thank you. And a rejoinder to this is another question. At what stage should I vaccinate my dog, and how often?
Okay, the last one, it is 3 months. The earliest is 3 months. Afterwards, annually, every year. Then the theory of 10 days, that by the time it bites you, that means mostly it has shown clinical signs. And after that, within 10 days, the science show that by that time, the virus has already saturated in the whole body, and the dog is turning towards death. If within for most of the cases, 10 days, the animal it dies a natural death from rabies. And that is one confirmation before you go to the lab actually that actually it was rabies. Okay? So that's why we say when you bite someone and we are not sure and we can confine it, maybe it's in a home or something. If you don't want, if you're not yet ready to go to the entire laboratory analysis, let's cage it and observe it for 10 days. In the meantime, if you're not sure of its vaccination status, go and take the anti-rabies. So 10 days is just enough time for the virus to kill the dog. Yeah.
Well, we're still discussing issues regarding rabies. But doctor,
yes, sir.
Also allow me, this hurts me because I'm very passionate about dogs. But there is a time when KCCA works on these stray dogs. Now that you are vet with KCCA, what is the criteria and how often? Because most of the messages I'm getting here, people are complaining about lonely, or what we call stray dogs, being so many. And with my experience regarding dogs, those dogs are not something you can easily come and capture. It is very tricky. Today, I know a number of street kids that move with these dogs. I don't know how mad people, persons that are mentally sick, many of them have dogs following them, and there's that saying that a woman can betray you, but your dog, even when you run mad, it will go with you on the streets.
It confirms that the dog is one of man's best friends,
best friend. So, these operations of waking up one day when all stray dogs have been worked upon, though sometimes you don't do it very well, you don't warn people, and people don't have fences, so they let out dogs at night, and you see very healthy, expensive dogs that have been poisoned. So how often do you do this, and is it one of the methods that we can really use to eliminate these so many? Because I believe if you care for your dog, then why would it be a stray dog?
Yeah, exactly. That should be actually the question. If you care for your dog, then shouldn't be shouldn't be loitering at any time, anywhere. It's not a matter of whether night or during the day. If you care for your dog, it shouldn't be loitering. That is one. Number two, as KCCA, we're definitely committed to the health of humans as well as the health and welfare of the animals. Most of the complaints, when they come to us, sometimes you have pictures and videos of people's parts mutilated and severe bites and whatever. When such a person comes, you cannot discuss it now. Why are you working on the dogs? Blah blah. No. It's human. I'm sorry to say, but your life is a priority first. Okay, so we are committed to ensuring that humans are protected and have a health and enjoy the city as much as possible, and as well as also animals enjoy it, cohabit together at the same time and peacefully. So whatever happens, whatever method is
this is done.
Yes.
Well, in the interest of time, let's talk about tomorrow. What is the celebration like? Where is it going to be? Any form of activity?
So, like you said, the activities have been going on since 24th. It's a whole week since last Saturday. It's a whole week in the whole world. So, districts and organizations and whatever individuals are organizing clinics. They are doing all sorts of things, ranging from vaccinations, the main thing, spays and neuters, that's castration and removing the uterus. We have been doing school sensitization about rabies. We have moved in a number of schools. We have been on TVs and radios. So what is happening in Tororo is a culmination of all this. Tororo this year has graciously hosted the National World Rabies Day in Uganda. And like we said initially, our theme is One Health, Zero Death. And we are hoping and we are working towards making sure that the One Health means a collaboration, a working together of different health stakeholders. The human health, the animal health, and the environment as well constitutes what we call One Health. Because what happens in any of them affects all the others. Okay. So all those who are in Tororo or nearby Tororo, you can go and witness what is happening there. The ministers are there, everything is there.
Those are the district headquarters?
Yeah, the district headquarters.
Okay, well, I want to thank you so much, Dr. Katumba Hannington, a vet with KCCA, that is Kampala Capital Authority. Thank you for your time. And of course, this information that is very relevant. Well, let's please ensure that our dogs are vaccinated at 4 months, then every year. But also above all, if you can't manage a dog, please do not have one. If you can't manage a dog, please do not have one, because rabies is very deadly, very dangerous and real. And anytime, any dog can be a rabid dog, most of the stray dogs. Have a lovely day. See you in the next hour. God be with you.
Thank you.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala.